What up guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here today and I'm back with another video. Now today's video we're going to be talking about the Goku Black arc and how I would fix it. Now if I'm being honest, this arc is a lot more confusing and complex to change and fix. When I did the other videos, like especially the Resurrection of F1, it seemed pretty easy and I had things on lock. But once I got to this one, I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, it's a little more complex. And the reason why it's complex is the way this was written, this arc, was very confusing. There was a lot of weird time manipulation. There was some plot holes with the time stuff. There was, when you introduce time, it gets very confusing. And then there's a lot of other stuff that they added in that it's hard for me to change, especially with the story that I already had set up. Because I wanted to set it up from the beginning. And with the premise that I'm going throughout these videos where I'm going to have to keep the same arcs and same storylines, just changing it up to a better way, it's going to be too complex for this one. So I don't know what to do specifically for this one, so I'm just going to try to do my best. I know it's going to have some problems. It's not going to be the best video that I have, but this is the best I can do. But definitely the Tournament of Power one and the Broly movie, those ones I think I can easily make better. This one is just, like I said, it was hard. The way it was written was already pretty bad and hard to follow, so it's even harder to try to fix it instead of just completely wiping it out and just doing something new. But that's not how this works. So yeah, let's get into it. Now I already set up the fact that the whole thing with Zamasu is going to happen well before the whole tournament of Universe 6 versus 7 tournament, because in the anime the tournament happened. Goku watched the tournament on GodTube, and obviously this was even before that because Zamasu fought against Goku and Goku showed him up, got him pissed off. Then he saw the video footage of what he did in the tournament, Universe 6 vs 7 tournament, and then got even more jealous and then tried to enact on his plans, but it prevented it. And then we had the other two Zamasus, the one that became Goku Black and the one that became, what's the thing called? The Mortal Zamasu, were from different timelines, so it gets a little funky, and I'll try to do my best, so bear with me. Okay, so what I would do is have him set up. He's watching Goku and in the tournament, Universe 6 vs 7 tournament. He sees how powerful Goku is, how powerful Vegeta is. He's like, not only are these Saiyans very powerful, but so are these other characters from other universes, especially hit. He's like, there's many characters from other universes that are a major threat that I'm gonna need to deal with. But Goku and Vegeta specifically, especially Goku, because this guy, not only is he very powerful and dangerous as a Saiyan, but he also keeps on getting stronger and finding new ways to get stronger, especially with the whole Kaioken times 10 thing. He's able to surpass his limits in crazy ways, and at some point he's going to be too ridiculously powerful. So he's trying to devise a way to beat him. So he's planning, and then he realizes the best way to beat him would be to use the Super Dragon Balls to make himself immortal. But he would still need more than that. And for him to do that, he would need to wait a year because they already used the Super Dragon Balls, when they wished, Champa's planet back to be revived. So he can't really use the Dragon Balls again. So what does he do? He basically is like, okay, I will just find another compatriot then that I can work with, that would work with me and stuff that would be powerful. He looks at the other gods, but sadly no other godly being in that universe or even in the other universes shares his ideals. So he can't go to another, Daikaiyoshin or even just a Supreme Kai or any of the other gods, because he knows that none of them would work with him. So he thinks that, well, the best person to work with is myself because I can trust myself and I have the same mindset. So he tries to obtain and acquire a time ring. With the time ring, he can go through different timelines or even future and back in past, forth into the future and stuff, and pick different versions of himself to help him out. So he's like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna get it with the time rings. I can't use it because I'm a Daikaiyoshin, so I'm the opposite of a Supreme Kai, but with my magic and my intelligence, he basically corrupts one of the time rings, is able to now use it as a Daikaiyoshin, uses it, travels through time, but before traveling through time, he tries to look for different timelines and tries to find the best one. He doesn't want to, right away take out Goku and them because he has a vendetta against Goku, even though Goku hasn't met him. He wants to handle Goku and them, but he wants to handle them personally, especially these ones, because they're from his timeline. He doesn't care about the other Gokus and Vegetas because they're not the ones from his timeline, so he doesn't mind killing them or doing whatever to them. But the one from this one, he's gonna hold off on until he gets his revenge plan on them, or his attack plan, because he needs to bring in justice, and these guys are just they're the biggest threat to him in this world. So he basically gets the time ring, finds Trunks' timeline. He considered this timeline where he needs to go to for one. He's still around there. Two, Goku's not alive in this one, or Vegeta. It's only Trunks, so he sees an easy weak timeline with the guys wiped out, so he doesn't also have to deal with the Goku there. But also the fact that he's also now have even more disgusted by the Saiyans and humanity as a whole, because he sees that Trunks created so many other timelines by messing with time, going through a time machine, and saying mortals should not have the ability to go through time. It's a godly law. It's against godly rules. Even us Daikaishin don't try to mess with time. Yet this mortal thinks he can do it, so he wants to punish him. So he goes into he will go into what's been called Trunks' timeline. Meets up with his Daikaishin self. He tells him, "Hey, look, we need to stop this guy. We need to beat them." He explains what happens with Goku. He shows them the level of power. I know you're with me. You just didn't have enough incentive to do it, but there are other timelines that they needed, and we need to stop this. And where I come from, we have these guys. We need to take them down. So then they're like, "Okay, we'll work together." So then they devise their plan. They use the Super Dragon Balls there. As they use it, we would have what's the thing called? The one from Goku's timeline, using it to take Goku's body from another timeline. He's like, well, Goku and what's the thing called? Goku and these guys, they're too powerful, and even with my research, there's no way I can reach them or get that powerful. Even if I try to take over another person's body or whatever, it's gonna be too much. So my best plan is to take Goku's body, since he has obviously not only a high potential, but he has a high growth to get into that potential, and the skill to do it. So he uses the Super Dragon Balls to get the body of a different Goku. So he invades the body, he swaps places with the body of a different Goku, ends up killing that Goku, killing his Chi-Chi and Trunks, Goten, and everybody there. So he does basically what Zamasu did in the main story. He does that again, but he picks a different one because, like I said, he selectively hates these version of Goku and Vegeta and them. He wants to punch them because they're from his universe and his timeline. Those other ones, he's feels like they shouldn't have been there to begin with, so he doesn't mind. He takes his body. Then they have to wait a year for the Dragon Balls to be active. So the other Zamasu is like, well, I want to be immortal. He's like, you got his body, you got the body of a mortal to be stronger, but I want to be immortal myself, so I can be unkillable. He's like, okay. Then he stays there for a year, attacks Trunks, and does the whole thing where he kills Bulma off. He does all that stuff. He's chasing after Trunks. Trunks is wondering why he's punishing them or whatever. And unlike in the original timeline, where it was basically right next to each other, right after the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament, they had Trunks coming into the past. I would have, after that, a year passes. Nothing happens within a year there. They're all just normally fine. And a year has passed. And we have, what's the thing called? We have Zamasu, as his Goku Black Body, destroying, Trunks' timeline, wiping out different life forms from there, getting stronger and stronger. But I would not have him wipe out life forms from every universe, because let's be honest, there's no way he's being Jiren or Toppo or any of these other characters, and we want to keep these characters strong. For Broly, I think it's simple. He would just easily, he sees that Broly he's a Saiyan, he has high potential, and to take him out, he decides to kill him quick. He doesn't waste any time with him because he doesn't care about him. So he instantly kills Broly and stuff. That's how he handled it. But mostly his plan, he would only wipe out life from Universe 7, maybe a couple other universes. He would kill off the gods of destruction and stuff. But he would not target specific, beings that are too powerful for him because he's just not strong enough. So he avoids them. So not everybody would be wiped out from these universes, just major amount. And then the years passed. The Zamasu from Trunks' timeline is like, okay, we can use the Super Dragon Balls again. Let's use it, and now I'll become immortal. Obviously, this story will not be right from the jump. This will be the revelation throughout the story as we see. This is me just setting up the revelation before we have, you know, the stuff, because I still do want to go with the way they went, where Trunks first came there, he was being attacked, we're mystery, like, who is this guy, and then they had a fight, they go through the timelines and stuff. That's what I want to do, but I'm just showing you the reveal beforehand. So this was basically the plan, and then he uses it to become immortal. And now since the years passed, he got the immortality and he's working with them. Now they can enact their plan to terrorize, you know, the other timeline Gokus. So they're messing with Trunks. Trunks goes back to that timeline. He's like, "Yes, I was expecting to do this. This way I can kill this guy off too with it. So taking out two birds with one stone. I want to, you know, handle this threat proficiently as possible." So yeah, that's how I would have handled that situation. So basically, they basically have their immortality. He runs away. Goku Black is just showing himself. Immortal Zamasu wants to stay put for a while. He doesn't want to show up until it's necessary. So he goes back in time. Trunks, he expects him to do that. He warns Goku and them about Goku Black. He comes there. He fights them. Now I will keep it. I'll keep the fight between Trunks and Goku the same as it was in the anime, where Goku took him out of Super Saiyan 3 easily. I don't think it makes sense that he forced him Super Saiyan God. So he took him out of Super Saiyan 3 easily. He says he's that powerful. Then he beats him up, and then he feels it, and he feels like now his body's getting acclimated to the power. Because when he did take over Goku's body, the problem was he was able to take it, but just like Captain Ginyu, he didn't know how to use it or fully control it. And since he's a Daikaishin, his body, his like spiritual energy is just not very compatible with like a regular organic person. So he needs to do it in a more unorganic way. So I'll just have him fight himself. The Super Saiyan Rose thing, personally, I don't mind the design of Rose. I'll probably make it a little more, you know, crazier looking than just the simplistic, you know, pink hair. I would still keep the pink hue. I think that looked pretty cool. And the name, but I will change the design of it. So yeah. But Super Saiyan Rose still sounds pretty cool. I'm not going to do what the manga where they have him go Super Saiyan 1 and 2. I don't think he needs that. I'll just have him go Super Saiyan Rose. Basically, yeah, I'll have him take out Vegeta the way he did with the sword thing. And then have the other Zamasu jump in. I will eliminate the whole Beerus and Whis trying to investigate shit. Because I will have some investigation, but I would not have it the way where he goes there, sets up Goku to fight him, because that didn't make sense time-wise. But the way I would do it is just Beerus is able to sense that he has godly energy, but a demonic type of one. So he goes to their realm, and then they try to scope it out, and then they find out that yes, there's a Daikaishin that is left, and he somehow obtained a time ring, because only Supreme Kais are supposed to get it. So they assumed it was Supreme Kais at first, but then they find out it was a Daikaishin who manipulated, and then they find out that way. Yeah, basically they just do that. Basically the fights would be pretty much the same, I would say. The only major difference what I would do is with how Trunks' power is handled. I do not like the idea that Trunks just randomly pulls out a bullshit transformation out of his ass like Super Saiyan Rage and is now on the level of Goku and Vegeta. I felt like that was dumb. If you do want to have Trunks have a main power, a staple or whatever, okay, that's fine. But I think there's more clever ways to do it. So the way I would do it in this story is, we have them getting beaten up, them going back in time. They need to advise a plan, because we have one guy that has Goku's body that has his power and even more intense power, so he's stronger than them, and he has like Super Saiyan Rose form. And then we have another version of this guy who's immortal. So we have two unbelievably powerful godly beings to beat. So Vegeta takes Trunks. He's like, you know what? Your universe, God, your timeline is the one that's in danger. You went through all this stuff, even though the enemy came from our universe. So sorry for that, but you need to handle your threat, because there's big threats there. So I'll train you. And they did do a little bit of training in the anime, but it was abysmal training. In this one, I would have it where Vegeta takes Trunks into the hyperbolic time chamber and trains him there for a year, and specifically trains him hardcore. Now the way he does it is he showcases his other forms. He showcases a Super Saiyan 3, which in this one he would have. He showcases him Super Saiyan God, and then Saiyan God, then Super Saiyan God, which would be his highest form there. He's like, these are other forms that you can obtain with godly power, but you can't obtain it through just training alone. If you want to obtain this power, you will have to go through a ritual and stuff. So we have Trunks go through the ritual too, also obtaining, he obtains Super Saiyan God. but he is just not as powerful. So Vegeta's like, okay, now that you have obtained Super Saiyan God with the ritual, I'll take you into the hyperbolic time chamber, and now I'm gonna train you. And then he trains him for a whole year in the hyperbolic time chamber, and he basically trains him with the Super Saiyan God to get better control of it, and he's trying to train him to obtain Super Saiyan. I'm gonna just say it was Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue in this one, but just know that I switched it up. Okay, it gets confusing because I'm just thinking about the original. So he teaches him to get Super Saiyan Blue, which is Super Saiyan God in this one. He tries to teach him how to get it, but he just can't obtain it. The best he can get is Super Saiyan God. So he's like, okay, it's fine. This is at least a significant jump in power for you. It's better than being just Super Saiyan 2 level alone. So he's like, fine. This is the best I can do for you. Let's just get out. So then they get out. They go back. They get prepared to fight him again. Get beaten up. So I would have them go back for the second fight, the second time. And we remember the last one when they fought, they all got beaten down, and then Trunks went into his Super Saiyan Rage form, fought and defended them, so they can go back and heal up. I don't like that idea. What I would have done in this one, like I said, is I would have made I would have made him Super Saiyan God with the ritual. I think that's perfect. I know it might seem like you use the ritual a lot, but if you truly want to make these characters more powerful, you can't just give them power-ups out of their ass. I think that was my biggest problem, is they randomly got power-ups. The only way to do them is to get them to God status, and I think the most best way to get them to God status is through the ritual. I don't like the whole, you can train and obtain it. It's just like, no, this is a divine, power. It shouldn't be that easily obtained. But yeah, I would just give them, that at least the same characters. The other characters, they'll probably have to do other things to, get significant power boost. But yeah, I would have just done that. He would have been Super Saiyan God, fought against what's the thing called? Fought against Goku Black and stuff. And the way I would have him obtain Super Saiyan Rage in this one would be his Super Saiyan Rage was basically a failed form of the Super Saiyan Blue form, where he tried to go to the next level above Super Saiyan God, but since he didn't have as much as training as Goku and Vegeta, he wasn't able to fully do it. But he also does have high level potential. So even though he has an incomplete form, his incomplete form is still more powerful than just their regular form. So yeah, he surpasses their regular form of power with an incomplete Super Saiyan God form, or Super Saiyan Blue form, which, like I said, I'm putting it out for as Super Saiyan God. But yeah, he has a Super Saiyan Blue an incomplete Super Saiyan Blue form, but still more powerful than them too. And since he's a hybrid, it's a more unique one to his liking. Though at some point later on in the future, he could perfect it or master it a little more. Then we have what's the thing called? We have them, lose. We just have the whole lose fighting scenario coming back and stuff. Then we have them bring in the Mafuba, use the Mafuba on Immortal Zamasu and shit. And basically, I would have Goku do the. I like the one where I like when Goku Black did the scythe and cut into the space and did that. I think that was cool. But instead of having Trunks trying to learn it off of a screen from Piccolo doing it, I would have just had it where Trunks jumps in to help out Vegeta, and Trunks is the one that's stuck in there, and he's basically he notices that Goku has the ability to seal Immortal Zamasu away, but he's occupied with the Goku Black clones with him and his dad, and he thinks that, well, since Goku's the best one to do it, I'll help him out. So he jumps in, helps out Goku so he can escape, and now it's him and his dad versus all those other Goku Black clones, where Goku's going after Zamasu to use the technique. He uses the Mafuba, traps him into the jar, and he does have the tag seal. I don't want to make him a moron where he forgets it. He tags him up in the seal, sealing him off, closing him, which it enrages what's the thing called? It enrages Goku Black. Goku Black notices that he's gone and sealed away. So instead of him keep on wasting time with him, he goes over there, breaks him out of there, and he's like, yeah, they seal me away. I'm scared. We need to fuse because if they do it again, then there's no way I can get out of it. So you and me need to work together, combine together. Also, I would do keep the whole Beerus has the Hakai ability where he can wipe out, him from different timelines and stuff. But I would have it introduced a little bit differently. I would have it where, he is, what's the thing called? Beerus is, what's the thing called? He's looking for he goes to the Daikaioshin's realm and he finds the guy who is supposed to be Zamasu's master there, because how in the original story they had Gowasu and stuff like that. I would have it where Zamasu is the apprentice and Gowasu in that one is the evil Daikaioshin who is the the top one who's teaching him. He's trying to talk to this guy and this guy is saying that he tries to attack Beerus and stuff, or he tries to attack Goku, and Beerus catches him and then does Hakai, wiping him out. And then Goku explains to him, "What did you just do?" He says, "Yes, that ability has the ability to wipe somebody's soul and spirit out, and physicality completely out of existence in time itself, which would be played up towards the ending of the the fight in series of this thing." So he's like, "Yeah, I have the ability to wipe them all out of existence with this ability." And then we just, like I said, go back to the fight. We have the whole situation where Goku Black goes there, stops it, saves him, and then they use the Patara earrings to fuse together. They use the Patara fusion and become merged Zamasu. But unlike in the other one where they had merged Zamasu be unbelievably weak, I'll have this merged Zamasu be unbelievably strong. He bodies Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks casually. Even with the powers fully restored, they can't handle him. He wipes out the rest of the remaining people on the planet, and they're basically screwed. The only way they can beat him is if they fuse. So Goku and Vegeta fuse and become, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. I would keep the whole. I would not get rid of the. I would not keep in the whole thing where they're like, oh no, it only lasts for an hour, and then, the transformation made him last for like 9 minutes. I would keep the way they did in the original one because I know a lot of people didn't like that. I'll keep it where if they fuse, they stay stuck fusing unless if somebody does. What's the thing called? Uses the Dragon Balls to unfuse them, like how they did with Kabito Kai, or they use a technique that can separate them, which Beerus can do. So they go to Super Saiyan Blue Fusion to fight against Immortal Zamasu. But Immortal Zamasu, even though he is not fully immortal anymore, he's like semi-immortal, he is still too much for Super Saiyan Blue Goku to handle alone. So they would need Trunks to also help him out. Super Saiyan Blue Vegito is like, I can beat him, but I'll need some time to charge up my most powerful attack to obliterate him. I need your help, Trunks, to help out. So instead of in the other one where Trunks completely cuts him up, which was stupid, I would have it more to where Trunks actually is a support character where he helps out as an assistant and he assists them to win. So as they're fighting, Zamasu's beating him up again, Immortal Zamasu, but he's playing around. And he's like, even as he's playing around, he's easily beating me. How do I defeat him? And like I said, he's in his incomplete form, his incomplete Super Saiyan Blue form, and can't beat him. And he's getting beaten up. And since he's so desperate and he's so mad and just wants to get revenge, he explodes into power and unlocks his newest transformation, which is not Super Saiyan Blue or the Super Saiyan God one, but his own unique version. This will actually be just the Super Saiyan Rage one. The other one was a false one that was a semi one that gave him significant power, but just not enough. And this is the completed version, but it's a different variation of Super Saiyan Blue form. Whereas Goku and Vegeta, since they are full-blooded Saiyans, they got the full-blooded transformation. Since he's a hybrid Saiyan, he got the hybrid half-blooded one, where it's not exactly like Super Saiyan God, but it's his own unique half-breed one that is even more powerful because he's half-breed. So he uses it to hold him back a little more since now he has strength. They both work, both him and Super Saiyan Blue Vegito work in unison to hold him off. He basically distracts him as he charges up his his Big Bang Kamehameha, fires it at Zamasu, obliterating his body, destroying him, and supposedly killing him. Though I will make him come back. Now I know a lot of people didn't like this, but if he's immortal, there's no way he can die. And I like the fact that he was immortal because it ups the stakes. It makes him more, a danger. So I will do the same thing where he's immortal, becomes, he develops into the multiverse, not the multiverse, the entire timeline. He becomes the Dragon Ball timeline. He takes over all the universes and becomes it. And the only way for Goku to beat him is to use the Goku button, the Goku button, to use the Zeno button. He presses the Zeno button, and Zeno shows up. Now, the one difference I will do compared to the anime is this Zeno that shows up will not be another version or timeline of Zeno. There is only one Zeno. The Zeno is all powerful and all being. He knows everything. He's everywhere, and time does not mess with him. So you can use time manipulation, but it won't work on him. And he shows up. And he knows who Zamasu is instead of just be dumbfounded. Now, some of you say, well, this doesn't fix up the plot hole of if he's doing this, damage to the universe, then why didn't Zeno step in? But for my argument for this one would be the reason why Zeno didn't step in was due to the fact that this timeline or these additional timelines technically should have never existed because they go against the law that was given where time should not be affected. So under that case, he doesn't go out to specifically destroy or target these universes, but if something bad happens and there's, a universal or multiversal level threat in these other timelines, he doesn't care. Because in the end of the day, the threats that happen in these universes that will wipe these out, technically they shouldn't have existed in the first place, so to him it doesn't matter. So that's how I would have done it. In Super, they just made it, he was oblivious, he's like, what? They're doing this to my own universe? What? Let me just wipe this guy out. No, that's stupid. I would have kept it, like I said, one Zeno, because then it wouldn't be his timeline. He would be caring only about the main timeline, and any other branch of timelines is against the law and should be governed. But if there is a danger that comes in those universes and destroys them or, is a threat to it, he's not going to interfere because they shouldn't have existed in the first place. So whatever bad stuff happens there is none of his concern. It doesn't matter if they get wiped out. The only universes that matter are the ones in his timeline. He's the only one that gets to selectively choose which one they get wiped out. So yeah, that's the reason why he didn't come to help Trunks or stop that, because technically Trunks and his timeline shouldn't have existed. So he's like, whatever problems you face, you guys have to deal with it on your own. The only reason he does something about it now is because he's Goku's friend and Goku called him there. And since he's already there, he's like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to just do it. He erases the timeline, wipes out Zamasu, and wipes out all of the existence there because he took over. So he does it, and, Zeno goes back to his own palace, and, he just goes to chill. So they wiped it out, and now they're like, well, what should we do? Basically, Trunks is like, my timeline has been all wiped out. I can't really do anything about it anymore. And in the anime, the way they did it is they took Trunks and Mai to a different timeline where there's already another Trunks and Mai there. And I just thought it was stupid. I was like, you know what? They could have used the Super Dragon Balls to literally wish back his entire, timeline back. Why didn't they just do that? So what I would have done is have used the Super Dragon Balls, wish back the entire timeline. I know Beer said, well, the other Zamasus are going to come back. First of all, no, they shouldn't. The only ones that should come back are the ones with the time ring. No, those ones shouldn't be come back because they were wiped out from that timeline. So I don't know why that would affect it. Yeah. So I would have had them use the Super Dragon Balls, revived Trunks' timeline back before, I would basically have it where they revive the timeline and everybody that was killed prior to, Goku's Black arrival, except for Goku Black and, Zamasu, because they're evil. They did this before in the Buu Saga where they wished back everybody on Earth that died, except for the evil ones, thus not bringing back Bobby and, his henchmen. So, yeah, they could have brought back the timelines before, all that stuff happened, just not bring, Goku Black and Zamasu. So, Trunks' timeline comes back up, they're back to existence, and, they're back to existence, and Trunks and Mai just go back to their, and the universe is back, but it's just not with them there. So they come back and they just get back to the place, and Trunks has got stronger, and Trunks and Mai now know that, hey, this timeline was in danger before, we need to keep it safe this time, even though we got rid of the danger. And then Beerus fully ends off the threat by wiping out, using Hakai on Zamasu from another universe. He wipes him out from another universe, thus wiping out the rest of them, ending the threat of Zamasu and Goku Black, thus never happening again. So yeah, that would basically be the end of my story. Zamasu's planning would be thwarted right there, and then we would have, you know, the final arc of you know, Dragon Ball Super, which is the Tournament of Power, and then basically after that, the entire show would be done. We would get to Broly. But yeah, I know it was confusing. To be honest, it took me multiple tries to do this one because it was a lot more complex than I thought. I had to go through many other things and scenarios, and I know there's a lot of stuff I left out. Like I said, I've been trying my best. It was just very confusing for me to do. But to re-explain what happens, Zamasu goes on his plan. He steals a timer, corrupts it, uses it, finds the Zamasu from Trunks' timeline, works with him because there's no Goku and Vegeta there, and he wants to specifically punch the one from his timeline. That's why when he takes over the body, he takes it from another one, because he's like, okay, that's my target. I don't care about the other ones. Zamasu and him there would not be the whole Gowasu thing. I don't think that was necessary. The way they show Hakai is a little bit different. You know, it's going to be a little bit more complex. I would have done the Hakai thing actually, not with the Gowasu thing. I know I mentioned that he tries to attack Goku, but I wouldn't do that. I would just have it where in the end of the arc, you know, for him to get rid of Zamasu from the other timelines and just not have this happen again, he goes to another timeline, wipes him out. Yes, is it wrong for a god to mess with time and go through time? But he knows that Zamasu does it again, or from these other universes, the time will be fucked with again. So he has to end him, you know, before he does that. So he does that. Also, there will be no, you know, extra Zeno. It's just one Zeno. He doesn't care about the timelines. He knows about it, but he doesn't care because, you know, they shouldn't be around for the first place. Trunks and Mai would, you know, their universe would be wiped out, but they will get it back in the end anyway. They would not. I did not like the idea of having two Trunks and two Mai's in a different timeline. They could have really wished back the other one. There was no point of not to. You know, that was just dumb. I also would have gotten rid of, you know, the whole them just wiping out every being from those universes. I would say some of them, but they know that there's too many powerful beings out there, which they don't mention, but you know, he avoids. Also, Trunks' Super Saiyan Rage form. Like I said, I would have Trunks do the ritual, get Super Saiyan God, train with Vegeta, and not fully, you know, unlock Super Saiyan Blue, but with him, you know, having Super Saiyan God, he's still significantly powerful. Then he obtains the false Super Saiyan Blue, and then when he obtains the Super Saiyan, he doesn't obtain Super Saiyan Blue, but Super Saiyan Rage, which is a different variant of Super Saiyan Blue. It's his own because he's a hybrid Saiyan, and as a hybrid Saiyan, his one would be different but more powerful. So yeah, those are the changes. Like I said, it's a little more complex. This one's a little bit too hard to do, but I think I did it better. Also, I made Zamasu significantly stronger. The only reason Zamasu lost is he should have only lost to a fusion, and only his physical body. His, you know, since he's immortal, he should still be alive and stuff. So yeah, that's basically how it ended. That's how I would change, you know, those different aspects. But I think the Tournament of Power one, that's when I'm gonna have really good ones. Especially the Broly movie. I think there's significant. I have a really great idea for the Broly one. So trust me, there's a significant change they could have done for that. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.